Why is it on the M1?
Oh yeah, there's a car now.
Can you go back and edit it now?
So Chris, we're about 9:30 now on the Friday, the second day of build-up. How far behind are we at this point?
So we are about 6 hours behind schedule where we're meant to be. So for Thursday evening we were meant to have run the world record measuring, and of course that just didn't happen. So we've still got that to do. And as you can see, we are in the midst of putting it all together still, and you'll probably see Phil underneath the baseboards all the time trying to sort the electronics out.
We didn't know how severe our problems were at this point. We were still optimistic, weren't we? We knew about the missing baseboard that was being fixed by Pete, having been sent off to the model shop. And then we were in short circuit hell.
Yeah, so there are lots of issues that crop up, and as you'll see later in the video, Phil is doing his utmost to track down each of the individual problems and solve it. And as we'll get into the video, you'll see a number of those problems and how they're being resolved. One of the problems there you can see in the background is Gus, and he's straightening out the fiddle yard, because of course one of the problems is the fiddle yard numbering wasn't as we would have wanted it, and so the boards were put together in a kind of a strange order, which meant that they hadn't previously gone together like that. And so what we found is the tracks didn't align, or there were gaps in the tracks, and they all had to be kind of realigned. And there's Phil under the baseboard trying to track down one of the shorts, I think, that he was experiencing.
Phil's the layout troll, as he lives underneath the bridges and things.
he did spend a lot of time underneath looking for and fixing all the problems we had.
What I was trying to do here on the Friday is I was conscious of the fact that the hall was going to start filling up with everybody else, is try and convey the scale of it.
Yeah.
But when you've got something so long and thin, it's very difficult to do. Now, Phil sent me this video of the track vehicles. He insisted they were on there.
It's fantastic.
And, it's great, isn't it, to see them move. I mean, they're real. They weren't just dropped off on a low loader.
No, that was and I missed this. It's fantastic to see it. But that's what really surprised me. I thought they were going to come in on a low loader like the 37 did. But no, the low loader dropped them off outside, and then they were driven in, and they making a fantastic noise. I saw them on the way out. Amazing sound. So it's really good to see these, and just how manoeuvrable they are as well.
Yes. I mean, I noticed that the guy that's supposed to lead it in walking, nobody wanted to do that for these. They just kept well out of the way. Just stick it there.
Yeah.
Fascinating to watch.
Yes.
What sort of gun is that? Do we know anything about it?
I'm not a tank expert. I'm going to say that's a Scorpion, but I might well be wrong.
I think Phil would tell us chapter and verse, wouldn't he?
It's made the models of them.
That new scenery there with the viaduct is actually brilliant, isn't it?
It's great.
You miss so much though just by looking at it, because there's so much to see from the other side. And I think by the end of it, I was so exhausted, apathy set in. I don't even know if I was there. I felt drunk. Well, I was high on painkillers for the whole weekend, but it's just...
And those copper clads there, you're just going out shot in there, they were part of our problem in the shorts, I think.
Right.
Because they weren't cut, so the copper was conducting electricity from one rail to the next, straight to its opposite rail, and causing a short. So that was one of the things Phil was having to track down, sort out, and make the cuts so that they didn't create the shorts anymore.
And he had the added joy of it was ballasted, so you couldn't even see him.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is a case of people just trying to run ahead to be helpful to get things done, and we're getting tripped up later. So everybody here is in a lovely shade of day-glow yellow or orange. It's a work site, isn't it, that we're setting up?
Absolutely. So Thursday and Friday classed as a working environment, and we all have to wear high-vis jackets. So everybody you see, whether it's us or any of the other people that are setting up, they've all got high-vis jackets on.
They're quite strict, aren't they? If you haven't got one, you don't come in.
No, that's right. Yeah.
There's a damaged baseboard just so we can grip it, glue it. There isn't another one here, isn't there? Can't remember why.
So somebody here giving us a hand, Dave, one of your customers, I think.
Yes, this is Ian, who has the Blair Athol towards Dromochta layout that was right at the entrance.
That was a fantastic layout, that was.
He's been a long-time MegaPoints controllers customer. It's over 7 years on that layout. And it's just as well he dived in to give Aaron a hand there. So many people are dab-am with the soldering iron. We need them all. It's like you can work in your own area and not come across anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron put an amazing amount of hours, both in at the exhibition, but beforehand. The amount of hours he did was incredible to make sure that all the patina did well.
Where they're all ringing you, so you get stressed because you're missing
Midlands today, BBC camera crew were there all day.
Saying you want an 8-minute interview, and you don't have to stop.
Do the nets.
Brilliant.
Did they come back on the Saturday?
Still with us, Pete?
Oh, it was a different
still with
crew,
us, yeah.
It was a different crew for the
Yeah, so it's
the live broadcast.
That's right. So on Saturday we were live on BBC Breakfast 3 times, and that was a different camera crew and presenter.
Tell us about the 37, Chris.
Oh, it's green.
D6808.
Yes,
I believe there's no engine in it.
There is no engine in it, so it's on its way down from Crewe. I went to the wrong services to meet up with the guys, but the bonus was I got to see the 37 at the services, and it does look immaculate.
You can see the Acura Scale logo on the front.
Yeah.
That makes it a model 1-to-1 scale, is it?
But yeah, it's very impressive watching this enter the hall, which I think was on the previous video.
I thought the lorry driver really knew his stuff. He would tape measure out and all sorts.
The skill of these guys is so impressive that they can just manoeuvre these huge things with absolute dexterity. Really impressive.
We have a short
circuit.
which we can't find.
It will do. Water pulled off. Yeah.
No, it's all right.
Right, okay. You'll have go.
Yeah, but that's on the other bit, isn't it?
So, when I was saying about pushing off, the prototype, the arms off the platform. We have a short circuit.
We have a short circuit on the inner road and the second one from this side.
And do you know which board it's on?
Yes, on this board here, this corner board.
What's the likely candidate then, or cause?
Well,
I think this is a problem here. That's joined to that one.
there's your phone.
That's not isolated. There it is. I think this is it. It's these two that are shorting on it.
No,
You found something?
it's the inner one and the second one.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like...
Yeah, I think it's this. I think I've just found it.
absolute points. Destroys the effect, destroys the...
Hey, sorry though, when you made that, for when we modded it, did you change that? Did this back thing have to change or not? In theory, no, right? No. Because that board should just have exactly the same back seam as it's always had on it. So that should be 2. Yeah.
Line it up, bang the bolts in the holes, right? And I'll screw it. I can't mess about. I don't know what's gone wrong here. I bet they've used the back seam for here somewhere else and they should be able to. But
Is that supposed to have a gap there though, Dave? Here. Is there something covering that?
Oh yeah, there's a corner. Yeah, forget that. I've got a corner.
Yeah, that's alright.
Yeah, it's...
I'm just checking, I was just thinking before you drill it.
There's a corner somewhere with an angle on it. An angle like that. Well, it's on there, isn't it? Yeah, the back seats have got to go on here, yeah? They're not on. See you? Pieces here. These have got to go on the outside.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't do that till Aaron's put his overhead up.
No, that makes sense. I was just thinking. Yeah, that's cool.
Let's get this on here. It's right. No worry here. There's no worry.
Nothing to worry about.
No.
Nothing to see.
No, I just. The trouble is, it's that much to think about. You need to drop that down a bit, I think.
Have they sorted the short?
Is it level at the other end?
Not at all. Insulated between the rails, but not between the two.
You're looking happy, Pete. Tell us why.
Because I found the fault.
Oh, okay.
My fault.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
It's not the first time, is it?
No, but the thing was, I put ballast over it, and I never checked that I'd insulated between the 3-4 rails.
Then again, if you've made a couple of 100 feet of baseboard, it's excusable, isn't it?
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Can I remind you, we're here to have fun.
Yeah. The whole point is... Is that short, Dave? No, that's your little bit.
There's a lot of activity on the back here. What amazes me is when like I did that cab run around the front, and it went on for over 5 minutes, and then you turn the corner and do it all again back down this fiddle yard. It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, the sheer scale of it is really incredible. And it's a lot of walking. So I think you're going to show us a shot here all the way down. And you had to do all the filming for the world record run, which was an incredible feat, the physical endurance that you did, having to film each lap 3 times. And there's Paul, who's doing an amazing job of finishing off all the greenery, all the green scenics.
Phil says we needed another 3 months to get this finished. So where are we now? May, June, July. We'll be ready for Chester then.
Indeed. I think it's not only kind of rushing to get it finished, which causes us to kind of take shortcuts or not being able to do things, review things as we might wish. But just the sheer size of it means you can't test it, and that's one of the things we've got to work on for the future. Is how do we get to test this so that we can iron out all the bugs. With us being 6 hours behind at this stage, and I've meant to have done the world record run by now, meant to have stock out and testing it, and as you can see there is no stock out yet. So what becomes our testing time actually runs into Saturday morning, and that's never a good thing because we're uncovering stuff that we don't know about in front of the public.
Do we actually need that?
So we need to kind of rethink how you do this sort of thing. Here's Gus putting the VR track and getting it right and getting it aligned.
The coach does seem to run quite well.
So that's one of the newer pure scale Mark II coaches, which are the beautiful coaches. And they're beautiful runners, but they don't run if the track isn't aligned. So you can hear Gus sending it all the way down. And what he's doing there is testing all the joints that he's kind of feckled to make sure
either it runs really well or we found the downhill. I think it's been
we had, when we were doing the world record run, one of the gaps on the down fast, which is the two lines closest to us here, had a misalignment because it hadn't been sorted out by the time we got to the evening, and it tripped up our world record trail about 7 times. And every time it tripped up, we had to restart.
Yes, I remember.
And that wasted around about 40 minutes.
I mean, if I didn't have the video to watch it, I would not have remembered much of this because it was just full on for 4 days.
Yeah. Thank you, Gus.
And when you're working till 2 in the morning and then 6 a.m. the following morning and you're working till late, life's a blur. You want to work and sleep. That's it, really, isn't it? You're having fun there, Chris.
Yeah, so this is the BBC Midlands Today crew again, and we're going to do an interview about the world record stuff.
And we're ready.
Ooh, 1 o'clock. So we've made it halfway through the day.
Yeah, so 1 o'clock, and don't forget this is the Friday, and we still haven't got any stop on.
In fact, we've got 12 more hours to go, 13 more hours on site.
Yeah. So this is our very heavy Milton Keynes Central sign. So this is what I did for Making Tracks 3.
Right.
And
what was that, Dave?
It's all a learning experience. We did this again. I would not make it out of glass. So it's got a glass frontage on both sides.
Right. Can you see the dodgy camera work going on here?
Yes, you've got some sort of tentacle appearing.
It's a cable that's unplugged. I'd unplugged it, but didn't realise it was dangling around in front of the lens. So you'll see a finger of doom up here in a minute that sorts it. But I just thought because I've only got this filmed once, I'd leave it in and hopefully people will forgive me.
So because this sign is so heavy, it takes 3 people just to make sure.
Because it's glass?
Because I made it out of it's got glass, because the lettering on there is laser cut vinyl.
Right. It's stuck on the glass.
It's stuck on the glass. You need kind of a shiny surface for it. So it works. It looks great.
Right.
But it is really heavy. And so if we're doing it again, like I did for the Watford and Bushy signs, we made those out of acrylic, and that makes it a whole lot lighter. But you learn. It's all the learning experience and stuff.
The glass looks shiny though. Yep. Who's there with his fancy tools? He was telling me some of the costs of these tools make your eyes water, but if a job's worth doing, if something worth having, you're going to pay through the nose for it, aren't you?
Yeah, Dave's a professional, right? So he gets absolute usage out of it, and it saves him time. So
same with modern railways, though. You buy a decent load coat.
Yeah,
you get what you pay for, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right, you want to find what goes on top now?
When the camera's on the gimbal way up high, you can't touch the focusing buttons. So you're kind of leaving it, there we go, baby. You're kind of leaving it to itself. Everything's a compromise.
Right, where are we going now? You're in charge, Dan? Yeah. Right, let's go down. If you go to the pushing station, I'll go and get the I need to grab a board. We need to go on there. I'll grab the board. I'm pushing stuff over.
Have you found a quiet spot to work, Pete?
Yeah. Not that I want to be doing this, but somebody's got to do it.
What is it you're doing now? Sticking railings on?
Fencing, yeah.
Oh, fencing, right. Oh yes, that's quite nice actually.
But before somebody said they wouldn't have a viaduct without fencing on.
You've now got a viaduct with fencing on it?
Well, I will have, yeah.
Railings laid out, ready to go.
Yeah. How long is wires?
It's Dave again.
So here's a bushy sign which is made out of acrylic as opposed to glass, so it's a lot lighter.
Aaron working his way around the entire layout.
Yeah.
Your side
So
down.
he's
like
fixing
2 mil, 3 mil.
baseboard joints, fixing the overhead
I could
wiring
say it
between
looks
them,
level.
and
Looks level.
repairs where we broke it. That's right.
Yeah.
The man from outer space said it's right, that'll do me.
Is that the caveat? It's right.
So you've got the signs up now?
Indeed we do, yeah. So the station signs are up over each of the stations, so Milton Keynes, Bushy and Watford are done. And then this morning I've done the Arduino coding for the departure boards which say which platform the trains are going in on our train display boards, which are the ones to the left and right of the main signs. So they're now done and should work when we get the RFID readers in.
Okay, so we've not had anything on the bus yet. We don't know the bus works.
Nope, but
What could possibly go wrong?
indeed, the stuff that I've done in theory works, so that's
Come on,
my...
show us what's gone on
So,
there.
if we go down to... So, on these boards, these will show where the real trains are going, where the model trains on our layout are going. So I think this should be the northbound, yep, the northbound board. So it's got an Arduino on the back which reads the data off the CAN, pushes it through onto the departure boards from UK departure boards, which is Russell. And then it shows up and will announce where the train's going.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's on these boards.
So we've got multiple stations now, so are they all linked as well? Have you been clever?
Yeah, so we've had to have a bit of thought with this. So we are doing, so we have each station, for example, we're at Bushy now. So if the train's going to Bushy, it will show that the train is calling at Bushy, and then if it's calling at Watford and Milton Keynes after it, we've now changed it so the database can update and say Watford and Milton Keynes on the Bushy board, and then when we get to Watford it will just say Milton Keynes and all the other stops after it. So that's now done.
And this is all automatic from the tag that's
Indeed,
read out
from
as
the
it leaves
number on the
yard.
tag. Yeah,
So there's another departure board here.
which shows basically exactly the same thing as the one that you've just seen, but in the opposite direction.
Okay.
So this will show trains going to London.
And if we go around this side, there's a bit more.
We end up with essentially the same. So for the northbound trains that showed on the Bushy board here,
Right.
we'll show it's going, the stops it's calling at north of Watford, and then the same on Milton Keynes.
And then
Finally we've got the actual live data on the bottom of here. We'll show the live trains at Watford.
oh, fantastic. And there's another departure board here.
Exactly, so on this departure board, if we have trains going south to London and they call it Bushy, we'll show Bushy on here, and then go round, go to that one, and end up back in the fiddle yard.
And there's
So,
a big Milton Keynes station on its way as well.
Indeed, which is
And we go past the housing project.
New Village.
Those boards were another casualty of our 6 hours of lost time. Dan and I put a huge amount of work into the databases, both for the models and for getting the live boards working. And you heard Dan talking about the CAN bus, and one of the problems we had was with the CAN bus, and we had to shorten it so the signal could get through the points, but that meant that the end boards weren't connected. So with testing and more time, we would have got those working, and they would have looked fantastic. But as I said, it's one of those casualties of the delays that we had, unfortunately, which is a real shame.
I mean, once we had all the points working, it was a case of we were so far behind, nobody wants to disturb the network to introduce an extra length.
And quite rightly too. Getting trains running is the key task that we have to do to entertain the public. And that's our kind of version 1 of the measurement train. That was
It looked great.
Yeah, and so my idea was, well, there's a real life measurement train, the yellow banana, so we'll use that for ours. Unfortunately, it proved not overly reliable, so we then swapped it out for the 2 orange 90s, which made a huge difference in getting the thing round reliably.
That previous shot, was that Phil coming to the realisation that the boosters aren't communicating with each other properly?
Yeah, so yeah, there was another issue that we had to deal with, which was one of our boosters was actually faulty. It was brand new out of the box and caused shorts without any load on it. So that was really frustrating as well. So all these continuous issues that we have all mount up into lost time.
I still have nightmares with that click.
So this was one of our first runs. So Phil had managed to get us some working track, and what we wanted to do was some calibration runs, because at this point, whilst we tested it on my own layout, we'd never tested it on a significant length of track. So we were doing some calibration runs here to make sure that the theory behind the clicking and the software analysis all worked properly. And thankfully it did. And here we are. So I've laid out a tape measure, that round thing on the track, and that's measured off, I think it's either 5 metres or 30 metres, I can't remember which one we're doing at the moment. And then this is the BBC crew for Midlands Today. I just wanted to know a bit more about the attempt and how we actually go about measuring the track.
I thought the camera crews that turned up, given that they probably don't know anything about model railways, were asking quite in-depth questions.
Yeah.
They weren't, oh, it's a shiny train, thanks. They were getting stuck right in, weren't they? They wanted nuts and bolts.
Agreed. They were very well informed. They clearly do this every day. Very professional. They knew what the questions they wanted to ask. They knew how to frame their pictures and videos. Very impressive.
At this point, you hadn't had the joy of discovering it was out of gauge and wouldn't go round, is that right?
That's right. So, as I say, it's all a learning experience. So I'd so the truck, as you might be able to see, has this 5 pounds of silver weight on it. So I kind of collect old banking antiques. So it's 5 pounds of silver. It's circular, and it makes it out of gauge. And to be fair, it went round 98% of the layout. There were just a couple of areas where it didn't go through as a signal, and some of the.
Don't mention the catenary entrance.
Because yes, well, but what we learned through doing the calibration runs and the testing is that I moved the weight, and if you recall, I turned the weight.
On its side, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the moment it's horizontal, I turned it vertically and put it inside the well of the wagon, and that worked really well. Apart from one piece of catenary, that was really low, and it wasn't so much catenary; it was the entrance to the scenic section in front of Bushey. So you can see here I'm trying to answer the BBC's questions about how it all works.
I suppose it's hard when you're trying to answer someone's question intelligently, but you're knackered.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you come up with a coherent response when there's just nothing left, the tank's empty? I mean, we're a day and a half into it here. I was exhausted, and we were going till 2 a.m. the following morning.
2 a.m. yeah. I think you're just running on adrenaline.
And then we drop that sound file into some software, and that counts the number of clicks. So the number of clicks times the circumference of the wheel gives us a measurement for the track.
First run on it on the
No, they're not. You don't want to be on the camera.
So this turned out to be the cab view that I put on YouTube separately, and this was the first ever run around this layout, wasn't it, Chris?
That's right, absolutely.
So we filmed it on board and we filmed it from behind.
Yeah, so coming up to Watford here.
I think if you keep watching the cab view itself, I put after this so we can see what that camera saw. I was very mindful there because the camera's only just fits on 00, so I was looking for problems where it was going to hit something.
Yeah, we were looking for problems. This is the first run round of a train that we've done. So everybody's looking out for, will it go round, what are the problems? And then we mark each problem with a piece of masking tape so that we can then direct people to go and sort it out.
People commented it was on the wrong track. What plausible reason can we give them for doing that? Because we were looking for problems.
Because we were looking for problems, and it was testing. But yeah.
Right, okay. You might lose power again now.
Yeah, it's fine.
You just...
Working as well. Actually, character building. What are you using for? It's that thing. 12 6 short and axle. Perfect. These kids make Oh, what did you do? What else did you do? That's the latest thing in the section. That's the latest thing in the section.
So this is more testing. So this is making tracks 2, and that's the Hornby Blue Pool, which just looks fantastic as it goes round.
Being very cautiously driven.
Yeah, well, we're trying to find the problems.
Hit the wall gently, not at speed.
Yeah. So I think this is a.
The hall's starting to get busy around us, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you notice everything going up around you. So this is one of our calibration runs. You can just see the tape in front of the engine there, the white tape.
And we're off.
Yeah, we're off. Yeah. So back to the beginning, we start again.
There's only 20,000 baseboard joints to do, isn't it? It feels like it.
Yep, so announcement.
Okay, calibration test of 30 metres.
30 metres is a hell of a walk, isn't it?
It
so
is.
It's not like you can reset it after 20 seconds. 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, so we've done a few 5 metre calibration runs, and now wanting to do longer ones just to make sure nothing's...
Check the maths.
Yeah, maths is working, nothing untoward is happening with the truck, that kind of thing.
I mean, we want consistent results, don't we?
Absolutely. You have to prove to Guinness that it's completely accurate and consistently accurate in the runs that we do. So you can see on here that I'm using a weight to hold down the well wagon, and that's to make sure that the flapper that goes against the clicker doesn't get stopped by the piece of plastic that it's pushing up against. It's a £5 silver weight, so I collect kind of old bank antique stuff. So this is one of the weight from one of my sets of scales. So £5 of silver, and it made the whole thing a bit out of gauge, which it went around 98% of the layout, but some of the layout it didn't go around. So you'll see in the later runs, we actually did a bit of a rethink about this, and we changed the orientation of the weight to be vertical instead of horizontal and inside the well of the wagon, which works really well apart from one entry piece to the catenary. And what I'm doing there, you saw me catching the train.
Yep.
Because what's really important is it doesn't go over the stipulated amount, so I need to stop it at 30 metres. And in the actual runs, we've got to make sure it doesn't overlap the run itself, so it has to start and stop at precisely the same point, otherwise you'd be double counting. So that's when you see me kneeling down, my hand over the train, and I'm catching it even though it's still going, because I'm ensuring that it stops at the right place.
It doesn't overrun at all.
Correct.
Not by one click. I was worried about the extra noise. We get onto the new section and it sounds a bit ropey.
Yeah, so this section here hasn't got any cork on it, so it's extremely loud. And for the first few goes, I think crumbs we've come off because it was kind of very rough sounding, but it isn't. And the way that Dan did the software analysis or sound analysis, we could cut out the background noise. So we set some thresholds, and we were able to see the peaks above the thresholds, and so the background noise actually didn't make any difference. The only time we had a problem with background noise was about 11:30 at night when all the cleaning machines were in the NEC, and they make a huge amount of noise. They have these kind of, I don't know how to describe them, these one-man driving vehicles that are clean, and they whiz around the floor, cleaning and polishing the floor, and they do, and there's about 4 of them in the hall at the same time.
Musical chairs.
We should have filmed some of
Yes,
that. That would have been So you see me, I'm kind of checking all the tunnels as we're going through, and this is before I've changed the orientation of the weight, but what I'm essentially checking for is it going to hit anything? Because the worst thing that can happen to the measurement train is it rolling back. If it stops, and it just stops, then that's fine, but if there's any movement in the wheel, particularly going backwards, then that's going to cause us to have to restart the run itself. So you see my trademark knee pads here. I get asked lots of questions about knee pads, and I got them on for praying that it will work. I find the floors very hard, and my knees aren't good at hard floors, so I just wear knee pads all the time, and it just enables me to dive into the layouts.
Secretly, we all wish we had them.
I thoroughly recommend them.
You know, I went round that corner, I was confused which end I was at.
Milton Keynes looks great, doesn't he? It just
Yeah.
always looks amazing.
It does. When you get these low-down shots and you're underneath the catenary, it is really realistic. Yeah. So this is one of the kind of test runs where we're going all the way around the layout, and here we're experiencing some of the electrical problems. But it actually doesn't affect our measurement as long as the train doesn't go backwards. As long as it just stops dead, and then we can continue it, then the wheel won't lose its kind of measurement accuracy. But yeah, we're experiencing the power outage issues. No.
I mean, we're still learning how to do it at this point.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But both from a measurement point of view and from a kind of the layout point of view.
The thing I learned was don't do it again. Anyone else is welcome to it.
Yeah.
I might have shortened the tracks.
No, you haven't.
So having learnt our lesson, Chris, on this ultimately, and it comes 24 hours later, we are actively encouraging others to have a go, are we, and take the record?
Oh, absolutely. So, the reason that we attempted, there's a few reasons why we wanted to bring this to the record books in the first place. One, we've got a TV series. It makes great TV, but more importantly, for me at least, was bringing model railways to a wider public audience. And that was the fantastic opportunity we had here of the new Key Model World live show, a new longer layout, and this was something different that had never been done before. And on the Friday we did 28 interviews We had, as you saw, BBC Midlands all day with us Friday, and we were live 3 times to BBC Breakfast for a model railway. And that is just incredible. You know, I think that's just incredible how we've raised the awareness and public consciousness of model railways. And if we can just get people, you know, building stuff, whether young or old, they go away and make something, whether that's airfix kits or model railways or whatever, then that's what it's all about for me, at least. So we've put the record out there. It's there for anybody to have a go at now. I fully expect it to be beaten. You know, there are some, you know, colossal layouts in the States, for example, but it's there, and I think it just benefits the hobby overall. We can see here one of the issues we had when the weight was horizontal in getting through this section of the baseboard. It's just really tight.
Now it's on video, I can see the problem. It's a square hole and a round peg.
Very good, Dave. Don't give me your day job.
Okay, I won't. One of the points I'd like to mention is we can see Dan there operating the pink tablet driving the train.
Yes.
And maybe modellers who don't see us at Chester and other places don't necessarily understand what making tracks is about. And it's about putting those tablets in the hands of the public,
yeah,
and let them have a go.
Absolutely. So, you know, at Chester last year we had 54,000 visitors come to see us. So
54,000 visitors to see one layout.
Correct. Which automatically make, you know, that's got to be the biggest UK model railway show, probably by number of people. And we drove with 7,500 kids and bigger kids, which is an incredible number, really. So we're all about getting people interested, enthused by making stuff, by model railways. And one of the great things that is quite unusual, I think, at model railway exhibitions is allowing people to have a go at driving a train, especially on a layout of this size. Even at 64 feet, you know, it's a massive layout, and you know, the kids absolutely love having a go.
I mean, that's a design choice we've made, is to keep control manual, so we get to press buttons and drive trains.
Correct. Yes.
Rather than have it tell us how much fun we might have had it driven itself, I suppose. But the thing is, then someone else can turn up with rolling stock and it can be put on. I'm not asking people to do that, but we have done that in the past, haven't we?
Yeah, we absolutely have. And you know, one of the things when we took it to Blakemere, one of the things we were investigating while we were there is it possible to automate the layouts? Because that might then reduce the number of people who need to operate it. And the conclusion we came to was really automation is just too hard for the flexibility we need the layout to have. It's okay if you're running the same stock at the same point all the time, but when you're swapping and changing out stock, you've got problems with stock, you know, the couplings, all that sort of thing. Automation becomes really problematic and actually a hindrance to what you're trying to do, not making it easier.
Now at 6:30, we're getting ready to take over the layout and start the runs.
So is that the time of this? We now at
1837.
1837.
And you can see the fiddle yard's now polluted.
Yeah, so
we've got to dodge that as well.
So thankfully, I'd asked a number of the guys there to start getting the stock out, which they put out. And ideally, we should have been at this point the day before, having the stock out, being able to test it. So we're at 6:30, and we haven't tested the stock around the layout.
Bit of surgery, Chris?
Yep.
Oh, it's the classic. Shove a camera in someone's face when they're busy, ask them how it's going and get a curt answer.
Yeah. So
go away.
So that's my trusted Leatherman that I have. And I needed to fettle some points, fettle the one of the, I think it was the RFID display board so that the train would go through it.
Fancy seeing you here.
Fancy seeing me.
Just when you thought it was safe to run trains, we find there's a dropper missing.
Oh, okay.
This is the problem when you can't test it before you come here. So any faults we're going to find on the new parts. Because in truth, we never had time to check this in the barn.
Right. It's exciting though, isn't it?
It's great when you see one of the big freights on here. It's a mountain.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. You know,
What would you be happy with in terms of trains per line on the scenic section at any one time?
one every 30 seconds.
Right.
Right. This is what I think. I think the droppers.
agree.
I think there's a dropper missing.
On that one.
There's one there.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that one there.
I'll soon find out.
And if
Do you
there
not want
isn't,
your
that's
thing
why you
aligned?
ain't got no power.
Either
1, 2, 3, 4. What? 1. That one's there, but it's not in. That's on the fast.
No, the slow.
No, I'm telling you, the fast, whatever, nearest to you, the second one. So the count 3 rails.
Yeah, oh right. So the down. So the down.
No.
Yeah, the down fast also has a problem.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Push it up, Phil. Keep pushing. Yeah, I can see that. That's not got. That needs shouldering. Yeah. And then the one over next to
2
it.
over it should be, shouldn't it?
No, there.
That's definitely got one in.
No, you should be 2 over because you've got 1 there. So you should have another one that goes on the fast, and then it should be the next one, the 1 over from the fast.
Have you got?
So this is Alex from Cavalex, and we're just testing one of his new 60s, which had only arrived in the country kind of a few days ago. Looks at, the 56 was a fantastic model. This looks to be just as good and look great going around the layout.